You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth.
We are the Men of Masculinity.
Your home for healthy masculinity. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Happy New Year, everybody.
That's right. Hey, I am Kirk M. Samuels.
And I am Jason B. Kendrick.
And we are the Men of Masculinity.
That's right. We're just real men having real conversations for you. Right here on your home for healthy masculinity.
I'm over here on my phone because I'm hitting share and I'm hitting like
sharing
and all
is
that kind of
caring.
stuff. All this year, we're going to let everybody share for free.
Share for free.
Shares. You can share for free.
We decided to extend it. We said we were going to do it for the holidays, and now we're going to do it all this next year.
We're going to let everybody hit share and subscribe like all
as much as you want.
Facebook, YouTube, madmanradio.com, all that kind of good stuff, man. We decided we're going to do that. Because, as we're sitting in the studio right now, it is a new year.
It is.
It is a new year. We have crossed over. We have gone around the sun one more time. Our first full year of Mad Men Radio, Mad Men of Masculinity. And now we are in 2024.
Yes, we are. And, one of the things I think it always happens, and we were joking about it this weekend and even last week about, people going to the gym for New Year's and you have the New Year's resolutions and people's like, new year, new you. And then I got to thinking, how'd that work for you last year? Like, how many of us are like, it's a new year, I'm going to be a new me, I'm going to change my life. And then about 2-3 months in, we're like, that's too hard. And I have some thoughts about that, but I want to get what's your thoughts. I got some thoughts about
some thoughts?
Yeah.
That's the surprise.
At least one thought.
Man,
I got one thought rattling around.
You got opinions. Wow. Opinions are like anyhow.
Yeah.
One of those. Man, I think this year I didn't do any of the resolutions or any of that. I'm not a big resolution guy. I'm not a big, I'm gonna start doing this or stop doing this. I'm not one of those guys, man. I don't roll like that, man.
Yeah.
To me, it's every day is New Year's Day, right? Every day is the beginning of a new year. So I don't need January 1st to come around and have me start. I'm gonna stop eating this. I'm gonna start eating that. I'm gonna start doing this, stop doing that, all that kind of mess, man. I'm just like, if I want to make a change in my life, man, I don't need January 1st to do it.
Well, speaking of that, I think that's why this topic needs to be talked about now. It's the beginning of a new year, and everybody's gonna be all hyped up to start the new year, the new you thing, and have all the resolutions and do all the things. But even as we were talking about before, some of the other folk, our guests, is you need to make incremental changes, small, sustainable changes. This whole new me, I'm going to change my whole entire life. There's 2 ways to change your personality, to change your life, to change something in your life. And that is gradual, sustainable change, or usually trauma. So you have those 2 choices. And usually trauma is pretty traumatic. So it's like a car crash. Is that may change your life, for the good or for the better or for the worse, but it's very traumatic. So small, sustainable changes that extrapolate over time, that you build on, that multiply over time, as you get that appreciation, the dividend over time. That's how you create the new you in the new year. And you got to have a game plan. It's not going to happen in 2 weeks. It's 3 to 6 months to a year.
The Japanese manufacturing term for that is kaizen. That would be small change. It's small change projected out over time, going 1%, 2%, whatever. If you want to incorporate any kind of change in your life, regardless of the date, it's small, measurable change that you can project out over time. But drastic change does not work. If you in the gym right now, on your way to the gym right now, thinking that you're going to lose 30 pounds in the next month, then when we see you in June, guarantee you're probably going to be 30 pounds heavier than you are right now, because drastic changes is not sustainable.
No, and it's not healthy. It's not sustainable, and it's just going to put you back into the same situation, if not worse, like Kirk was saying. You're trying to lose 30 pounds, you end up gaining 30 pounds, and so now you're 60 pounds overweight, and you're more down on yourself, you're more depressed, you're more overweight, you're more unhealthy because you tried to do it all at once. We here in the States are famous for the magic pill. We all want the magic pill with a magic bullet. We want this one-time fix-it-all thing. And I've tried a lot of those, fly-by-night magic pill, snake oil things. And the only thing that really works is to make incremental changes and talk to professionals, talk to people who have made those changes, talk to somebody who can support you in making those changes, and then set a plan up. Just like when we had, was it Brett or Rob? One of our guests come on and talk about budgets. Budgets aren't sexy, but that's how you manage your money. Just like setting up maybe a budget for your life. That's how you manage your life. You want to change something, you want to be a new you, and maybe it's not going to be in this year. Maybe it'll be next year, but you'll still be a new you if you set it up properly.
There's no magic pill. If there was, you would know about it. Or if there was and you don't know about it, you can't afford it, because only the people that can't afford it know about it, right? So there's no magic pill for any of those the drastic change that you want to happen in your life. I mean, it's hard, especially the older you get, man. You've had a whole lot of years of momentum going in the direction you're going in and being the way you are. So change is hard. I mean, I had the opportunity, the gift to have a period in my life where I was able to completely change directions. Getting past, getting over, getting through addiction, losing 40, 50 pounds. Just kind of rearranging the furniture of my heart and my soul and my head. But man, it was hard. It's like moving by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can imagine wherever you live right now, trying to move to a different home, but doing it by yourself, it's basically the equivalent of that.
Well, and if I remember your story correctly, you basically hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
And then that was your motivation to get out of there. For those who haven't quite hit rock bottom yet, or maybe they're on the slide to rock bottom, what would you suggest to help them maybe stop the plummet to rock bottom and climb out beforehand?
Yeah, the reality is for most people, it takes rock bottom. I mean, and this goes along with just even my work with guys, in the same addiction throes. A lot of times it's not until the wife leaves, or it's not until you end up homeless, or you end up, sleeping in somebody's basement on somebody's extra bed or something like that, renting a bedroom of a house or whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, it takes some kind of rock bottom experience, at least for a lot of guys, because I primarily work with guys. It just takes hitting rock bottom. I mean, I see so many guys and I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, now is the time. Like, you don't want this smoke, man. You don't want to end up in divorce court, man. You don't want to end up divorced. You don't want to end up watching some other dude go on family vacations with your kids on Facebook. Like, dude, you don't want this smoke. You don't want to have to write that check for the next 12, 13, 14 years. You don't want that, man. So this is the time. But unfortunately for a lot of guys, it comes down to hitting rock bottom. And so, that's just the reality. I wish it wasn't that way, but it is.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of times, it's been my experience, and I've seen a lot of the guys go through where they're on the slide to rock bottom. Mm-hmm. They know they're on the slide to rock bottom, and it's almost like a resignation, like, well, once I hit rock bottom, we're going to make that decision. Do I stay or do I go? And if I stay, how do I become that new person, and what steps I need to make? And it's just sad that we can't stop the fall and get off the slide and say, okay, that's far enough. I want to make changes now. But so many of us, we just need that medical scare. You need that divorce. You need to face plant, into the boulders and go, oh, I didn't like that. That was very uncomfortable. So maybe now the pain of change is not as great as the pain I'm going through now, which I think tends to be why we as men especially have to hit rock bottom, because we're not willing to ask for support. Number one, we're not willing to admit we're having an issue, and we're not willing to take the steps until the pain of change is less than the pain we're going through in our bodies now. So I think some of us are gluttons for punishment. So we're like, hey, I'm just going to stay on this line until I hit rock bottom. And then when it's the most painful I've ever experienced, then I'll start making changes, because I won't want to experience that again.
And unfortunately, we don't live commonly in close relationship. We don't have a circle of people around. We don't have other guys in our lives that can be some sense of, I'm going to say accountability, although that word is kind of, I don't know, maybe a little 90s.
That should be a good word. We need to bring that back and make it a good word.
But, some guys that will see you and know you and see you, on a regular basis and know you well enough to know what's on and what's off, and also to have the position or the place in your life where they can say, hey, man, you going a little bit off the rails. I know that I have guys in my life, man, if they saw me at the strip club, it would be, yeah. I mean, it would be, yo, I mean, come here, man. This ain't you. You know, if they saw me, you know, just somewhere acting a fool or whatever it is, you know, I know I have guys in my life that would kind of, you know, pull me by the elbow and say, hey, man. But most guys don't have that. And I can tell you for sure, when I was in that space, I didn't have that. But a lot of times, man, it does. It takes that call from that doctor that says, you know, whatever. I mean, that says, hey, you need to stop chain smoking because now your lung, whatever. Now you got lung cancer, or you need to stop being supersized me, eating every meal at McDonald's and In and Out because now you got diabetes and, you know, you're going to lose a leg or lose a foot or you're going blind or whatever it is, whatever the habit is, or, you know, you drink so much that, you know, doctor says, hey, now you got cirrhosis of the liver and all those kinds of things. I mean, a lot of times it takes rock bottom, which is a great reason why, you know, when you even have medical accountability, when you're in the doctor's office, you know, when I go to Castle Rock Men's Health and I get my blood drawn, you know, every few months or whatever it is, and I get the labs back, I can see what my cholesterol is looking like. I can see what my blood sugar is looking like and my hemoglobin and my bilirubin and all that other kind of stuff. So we don't normally live in some level of accountability where we can have bumpers like a bowling lane or a curb on the street to keep us from going off the road.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things that if you are a man and you know you're on the slide towards rock bottom and you're wanting to make a change in the new year, the first thing you need to do is start looking around to find support. Find some guys around you, maybe join AA, NA, SA, any of the 12-step programs, find maybe a faith-based community, something that works for you, and start surrounding yourself with other people who have either been there and done that or are on their way up. Because when you're on your way down, it's lonely, it's isolating. And I think one of the biggest reasons too, like you said, one reason we hit rock bottom is because we don't have somebody go, hey, why are you in the strip club? Hey, why are you hitting the bottle again? Hey, why are you doing that? And trying to check us, or at least ask questions like, are you okay? Because this is not behavior that you said you want to be doing. And when you don't have a group of guys around you who are trying to do better, who are willing to hold you accountable as a man and say, hey, I don't think that's the way you want to go. You said you wanted X, Y, and Z, and you're over here doing B, T, and F. This is not what you said you wanted. What do you want now? How can I support you, and how can we get there? And if we don't have that support around us, we're just isolating, which most of the addictions are isolating. Most of these behaviors that take us rock bottom are isolating. Most of us as men, as we get older, are isolating because we are trained not to reach out. We're trained to suck it up. We're trained to not look at life as, okay, well, this is just the way it is. I need help. We're trained to go, nope, this is just the way life is, and I got to do it on my own.
You know what we're trained about right now?
Are we trained to take a break?
We're trained to take a break right now. Hey, we'll be back. Men of Masculinity on KLDC. Boom. All to the I was like, wait a minute. Oh yeah, I was out of rhythm for a little bit.
It's been a minute.
I was out of rhythm. I was waiting to get Tanner to throw something at us on the window. Like, yo, what's up, food?
It's been a minute.
Minutes, man.
And if you are watching this live, make sure you go to either Mad Men of Masculinity channel on YouTube or Mad Men of Masculinity. I think it's Mad Men Radio on Facebook.
Yeah.
But you can actually comment live on there. We'll see it on the screen. But
hey, we might have our sound piping through here. So does that mean Tanner? They can hear Tanner? I don't know, man.
Let's try.
Yeah.
Say something, Tanner. You're not
I don't
sure,
know, man.
We'll find out. Oh, well,
man. We trying some new technology and all that kind of stuff, man. It'd be cool to get Tanner to chime in every now and then.
Yeah, it's sad when it's like, Tanner's talking, he's saying something profound, and all we hear on the YouTube side is
like Charlie Brown's teacher.
Yeah,
we need that. That'd be cool if that could work.
We'll get this fixed. We're gonna have our IT bro back in here and get this fixed up. So.
All right.
Yes, we are back.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy New You. I think if there was, based on what we were just talking about, I think if there was one thing that a guy could say, I want to start doing or I want to do better in this new year, I think it would be to hang out with other guys, get around other guys, be in community, in whatever you want to call it, fellowship, be in partnership, just be in friendship in circles with other guys. I mean, I think that would right there man, that would revolutionize a whole lot of guys' lives.
Yeah, I mean, it is so easy, and I think it's kind of been designed that way. We especially if you've been out in the world and you've done all the things you're supposed to do, you went and got the college degree, you went and got the wife, you went and had the kids and the white picket fence, and then you lost those things. It's really hard to not want to isolate, to go to our caves, to lick our wounds, and then it's really hard to not just end up staying there. You can get comfortable in your isolation because it becomes a safe space, or so you think. But part of that safety is one of the things that I have, to be very aware of, because I do spend so much time on my own, is that it can be very easy because nobody's watching. Nobody's saying, hey, why are you doing that? Nobody's saying, is that, how many drinks is that? Or what, how many cigarettes have you had this week? Or whatever the thing is. Like, people aren't around to watch you. And so it gets real slippery slope-ish when you're like, oh, nobody's around. Nobody can see. It's fine. I'm not bothering anybody. Well, you might be if that ends up leading you to exiting this world.
And it's cool to have guys just covering your back, just watching your six, whether you like it or not. We were just in here during the break, trying to play around with some technology thing, maybe see if Tanner can be, can be heard over the stream.
Apparently
of course, we live stream on YouTube and Facebook as we're recording these, and as we were just kind of kicking that around. Speaking of a brother of mine, guy I've known for I don't know how long, who was kind of right there at the beginning of my addiction revolution and, and all that kind of stuff. He's, one of my closest guys around. He chimed in, like, hey, can't hear Tanner. And so you get guys watching your back when you live in community, when you live in circles of guys. I didn't even know he was out there. I didn't even know he's watching, but he was covering our back, regardless. And that's the kind of stuff that we should experience as guys, where you live, where you get together regularly with guys and they can see, like, dude, your eyes are looking weird, man. Or you packing them on, you gaining some weight or something. Are you okay? But guys that we show up with, and now Mike's watching. But guys that we show up with on a regular basis, I got my golf buddy almost every weekend during the summer. I got another buddy that, once a month or so we'll get together and meet at the cigar lounge and have a half a cigar. I got, just et cetera, you go on and on. And so, but I think this year, if there's anything a guy wants to do better to improve his overall entire life, I think maybe that new year, new you might be getting into circles of other guys.
Yeah, you're definitely going to want to get into circles, because this year the theme is going to be community. And it may be community out of tragedy, it may be community out of the world going insane, but you're going to need to be a part of a community, because we can't survive on our own. Yeah, okay, some Green Berets and some guys, SEALs may be able to go out, but even SEALs don't go in it alone. Being in community so that you can support each other, so that you can lean on the strengths of other men, so that they can lean on your strengths, so you can be of support. This year, there's going to be so many things going on that, who knows what happens with the election? Who knows what's going to be happening with wars and things in the economy? This year's one big question mark, probably like 10 big question marks. Like, well, what about this? What about that? Well, the only way for us to survive is to come together as men in community and build a strong community of men to support our families, to support our villages, as it were, and be a positive force for the rest of the world. But when we just isolate and are just trying to suck it up and aren't getting out there to be supportive or to get supported, we're too easy to take out.
Hey, speaking of which, Mike's chiming in. Mike's on fire. He's a brotherhood of the same battles.
Yes.
And speaking of which, I should probably take this opportunity to say, as we're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube if you go to the actual Mad Men page on Facebook or YouTube, and if you comment live, we can see your comments live, just like Mike is doing right now. One of his comments was on Facebook, and the other one looks like he switched over to YouTube, and now he's commenting on YouTube. I don't know. But either way, speaking of community, man, we'd love to hear, your feedback. But I think, from a guy perspective, man, we got to be doing more than that, because that affects so many parts of our lives, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and relationally, just in every other way, man. So I think, if any guy wants to have a year better this year than he did last year in any way that you can affect or impact, getting into circles with other guys, I think is the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, and to your point before, the biggest reason is the accountability and to have somebody that's got your back. Because a bad side effect of being isolated is that you become very lonely and you just feel alone, and then you feel more and more isolated, so that you feel like nobody's got your back. And so then you rely more and more on substances, you rely more and more on distractions to get through your day because you're just white knuckling it. A lot of times you hear, and when you get into recovery, they're like, well, I'm glad you had that crutch. Thank God you had that crutch to get you through so you didn't take yourself out. But now we got to lay the crutches down, and that takes support. You got to lean on somebody else that, what the job those crutches did for you. That's what your brothers do. And having that community around you to support you as you come out of that, because it's such a slippery slope. And it's one of the things that I think our society right now is really geared towards isolating men, taking them out of families, breaking families down, and making us weaker so that we're much easier to control, to tame, and to push out of the way when they bring in some sort of new thing where normally we would say, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't agree with that because of my family and my kids and etc. And when those things are stripped away from us as men, we start to feel less of purposeful. We start to feel less of the warrior, start to feel less of that man who needs to protect his, because it's all been taken away. And you're like, well, they just took it away, so I'm just going to be here doing my thing. Well, that's how they get control and how we lose control. And that's what's happening right now.
And I think above and beyond our marriages or our whatever your romantic relationships, we need guys. I mean, it's one thing to say, yeah, my wife is my accountability or whatever, or my kids and all that kind of stuff. I think being with other guys helps us to be better in places where we are the guy. We're in your household, in your workplace, all those kinds of things. Being with other guys is important completely. So, I mean, again, feedback. Mike says Facebook UI is less friendly. Okay, so he's commenting on YouTube right now. But, even that, I mean, man, this guy, right, he just got back from Africa not too long ago, man, and he was out there building villages and all kinds of stuff up. I mean, but he was doing it with a couple other guys, I mean, to be able to have these experiences and to grow in all these different kind of ways, man, I mean, it happens. The biggest change you'll see in you is when you get around other guys that generally are going the same direction that you'd like to go.
Yeah. And if you listen to us ever at all for any amount of time, we're always talking about step one is look in the mirror, whether it's dating, whether it's trying to be the new you in the new year. You got to look in the mirror and you got to acknowledge, number one, and accept that you are human and you are flawed and you're going to need support. So many of us men have been so ingrained in, I got to do it all on my own. And I mean, when we had Tammy on and she was asking me questions about relationships, I'm like, well, I literally left relationships because of perfectionism, because I didn't know how to ask for support or say, hey, I'm struggling. So many men are out there like that, like us, that just feel like they can't ask for support. But part of that asking for support is being willing to look in the mirror and go, hey, these are my strengths. These are the good things. These are my weaknesses, which we all have. I need to work on these and be aware of them. And when we're not 100% aware of like all the parts of us, it's really easy to be tricked back into those isolation techniques, to be tricked back into addiction, because when it gets uncomfortable and you don't have that support system, you tend to slide back, which I mean, all the coaching I do, every person I've ever coached, they go through that 2-step process. I call it the 12-step 2-step. You're going to make steps forward, then you're going to take steps back. And you got to have that support during that step back process, which that's where your boys come in. That's where your counselors and therapists come in. That's where the doctors come in, because those step backs can actually be the most impactful parts, because when you step back and you realize, oh, I don't want to do this thing again. Well, that step back can either be the destructive part where you get down on yourself and say, okay, well, I did it again. I'm worthless. No, that's just part of the process of you relearning more and more about what you don't want to do and who you do want to be.
I honestly don't think, and this is from my experience and what I've seen from other people's lives, when you do take steps back, you do stumble, and really even when you do hit rock bottom, I don't think that's always a bad thing. I think sometimes we got to hit rock bottom. I mean, in construction, you always hit bedrock before you build skyscrapers, right? I like to say that sometimes the end of your rope is the beginning of your fuse, right? And so sometimes you got to get to the bottom in order to be able to build up to who it is you want to be. And when you do hit bedrock, then what you're building on is more stable. Building a house on rock as opposed to sand. And so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. And then when you do have a stumble, when you're trying to move forward, you do have a stumble, or you do have a step back, that ain't the end. I mean, that's just the beginning. You don't quit. You only lose when you quit. Being a failure is not a great thing, but sometimes failing is okay. Failing means you're trying at something. Failing means you're trying at something hard and something difficult. And so, failing is part of growth, right? That's just kind of the way it is. And so that's not an excuse to fail, but failing is not an excuse to quit.
Yeah. Well, it just brings back, my whole argument with the current educational system, because the way they teach us is basically the antithesis of how life works. Because life is about failing forward. You can't do anything right the first time. You're not going to be perfect the first time, but in our educational system right now, there's one right answer. There's one way to do it. And even if you have the answer, but you didn't show the work we wanted you to show, then somehow that's wrong. There's all these different things that are teaching us to not be as artistic, as intuitive, as forthright, and to deal with failure. Like, we're trained pretty much throughout our whole life in our Western school systems, like, do not fail. But in everybody who's ever made anything is a story of failure and continuation of failure after failure after failure, but they have the dedication to move through until they find the way it works. But for most of us, if we are on that path and we want to create something, having support around you can help ease that burden some. But when you're trying to, like, what's the guy, I just forgot his name, but the one that pushes the boulder up the hill and that's his hell or whatever.
I
forget now.
I went to public school. I didn't know.
See what happened in public school?
I didn't read that.
I don't even have the wrong answer.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So you need support so that you're not just pushing that boulder by yourself. And so when you fail, there's somebody there to go, that's cool. What'd you learn from that failure? And how can you use that to move forward? You need to fail forward. But our school system and a lot of what we're being trained right now is like, there is no room for failure. And if you're a failure, then you're a loser. It's like, no, everybody fails. But are you failing towards a goal, or are you failing away from who you're supposed to be?
That's why this hurry up and change, this whole drastic change and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. That's why it's not healthy or sustainable, because you don't learn the lessons in between that. You can lose 30 pounds really quickly if you just stop eating.
That'd be really incredible.
Probably faster than you think. You're gonna be in swimsuit shape. Will you be healthy? No. Will you be passing out probably from low blood sugar at some point? Yeah. But you don't learn the lessons. You don't literally build the muscle to sustain where it is that you're trying to get to. So a whole lot of people in our culture want to do this, I want to change. I want to get to the finish line, but we don't like the journey. We don't like the challenges and the obstacles. It's like running that Spartan race. Everybody wants to, or running a 10K or something like that. Boulder will be coming up here in a handful of months, and everybody wants that finish line photo, but not many people want to run that 6.2 miles or whatever it is to get to that finish line. And so, but it's the journey, it's the process, it's running all the miles in training to get ready for that day that makes that finish line crossing mean something. But just to go out there, and you can walk 6.2 miles, the stadium's gonna be shut down by the time you get there. There ain't gonna be no finish line because they're gonna be packing up everything by the time you get there. But it's the training process that to build up all of the muscle, to build up whatever. It's the work that means something, not just the destination that you get to.
Yeah. Speaking of the finish line, I think it's time for us to have a little finish line moment. Yeah.
We are past the finish line.
We'll
be right back. Men of Masculinity. I'm just sitting up here yapping.
Man's out of practice. Not even looking.
I need to put this.
I even added 2 minutes on because of the break. I was like, that one's got a clip on it.
Yeah, no, we were about a minute and a half over. Normally it's right there. I'm looking at it the whole time. But that's all right. I'll put it up and we'll cut it short.
Sure.
Because all I do is just flap my love.
You see what I can do with
stuff. All right. We're back.
Yes, we are.
Men of Masculinity.
Right here on KLDC.
1220
AM in the Mile High City and on the interwebs. Everywhere.
Interwebs around the world. We're global. We are global. You can be in Botswana right now and be watching the Mad Men of Masculinity.
That's right.
You know, I mean, you could be in I don't know, Queensland, Australia right now, and you can go to madmenradio.com and check us out, man. You could be in Vienna, Austria right now and be watching us on YouTube. We are global.
Yes, we are.
I just got to stretch that out.
Yeah, that's good. I like it.
I just couldn't stop.
I like feeling like we have a global reach.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I mean, yes, we do the airwaves here in Denver. We've got the Denver metro area from the foothills of Strasburg and Fort Collins down to Colorado Springs, but then we can reach you anywhere.
Shout out to our sponsors that be helping us do this, man. I mean, yeah,
Castle Rock Men's Health
sponsors be coming in, man. They be doing it to it, man. They, all when the tide comes in, all boats rise, man.
Speaking of, both Kirk and I can vouch for Castle Rock Men's Health.
Yes.
If you are a man and you have been struggling and you want this new year to be a new you time frame, physically,
hormonally.
mentally, hormonally, I mean, it affects so many bodily functions that call the guys at Castle Rock Men's Health, get your blood work done, check your testosterone levels, check your A1C levels, check your all the different levels. I mean, your cholesterol and all those things, and see what they can do for you, because they have helped both of us out. I've lost 20 pounds in the last 6 months, whatever it was, and put on some muscle, and it's been very helpful. But I didn't just go to the gym and just try to pack it all on. I actually asked for help, got support, and got the right tools.
Funny thing is, I bet you if you go there and say you heard about them on Mad Men Radio, Mad Men Masculinity, I bet you they'll do your labs. I bet you they'll hook you up.
They might hook you up.
They'll give you the wink and they'll just do the labs and be like,
I got you.
Keep your card in your pocket.
I got you.
And it would be funny. And if you don't believe what he just said, go to YouTube, go to the Mad Men channel and go to like videos.
Go back about 2 years.
Scroll back about 2.5 years and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, man. Jason's face was the size of the screen.
I had the beach ball face. I was about like this fat.
But yeah, if you don't believe, then go back.
I believe.
Go back and look for yourself.
Actually,
man.
no, don't go back. I don't need anybody watching those old episodes.
But no, I mean, we just give some love to our partners, man. Castle Rock Men's Health. We got Barry Overton, man. We got another one coming on Pro Auto, man. We doing this thing, man. So anyhow, yeah, we doing our thing locally and internationally, because this year is a new year, new us.
And that's a part of asking for support and partnering up and creating community with other people to be a support. Because there's one thing, and we've mentioned it before, is this being a new year, we really need to reiterate and highlight. It's time for us as men to come together and support each other. Stop competing, especially in business. It's time for us to start promoting each other and coming together and seeing how we can promote, our different skills, our different strengths, and how we can promote our brother over here who does what he does, and then he can promote us when we do what we do. Because so many small businesses, so many entrepreneurs are just struggling and getting kicked out of their businesses now because they still think that they have to compete. But as a community, we need to come together and support each other, especially as men in business, in life, in health, and everything else.
That's one thing I think women do better than men, hands down, is support each other. They will go to a woman-owned business. They'll hype up their girlfriends and businesses and all that kind of stuff. They will support the heck out of each other business-wise. And men, we need to look for opportunities to support other guys doing other good guy stuff. And that's how we came across, even the businesses and business owners that are supporting us, man. It's just, good guys, good people just doing good things and wanting to support others. And so that's one of another new year, new you. Is hey, get out and support another guy doing his thing. I mean, it doesn't take anything to share something. One of your buddies is just real estate agent, closed on a house. Share that thing, man. What's up? Shout out to my guy so and so, or whatever it is. One of your guys accomplished something. Share it. Reach out to a guy out of the blue and just show him some love. Like, hey, man, I see you. Or some guy going through a loss. Just hit him up a DM and just say, hey, man, I see you, man. I'm sorry to hear that, or whatever you want to call it. We all going through the same stuff, man. We all going through the same stuff. If you know a guy with kids, he's going through the same thing. If you know a guy single without kids, he's going through the same thing, et cetera, et cetera. So this is a great opportunity for us to begin to lift each other up and support each other.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. I mean, just a nod, a smile. Hey, I got you. I mean, we guys have spent so much time learning how to operate in isolation and on our own. That little bit of support, those little things. And for you ladies that are watching, when was the last time you looked at your man and said, you're worthy of love? You're worth it. I love you. I respect you. I mean, I watched some TikTok video that brought me to tears because this girl who she may have only been 18 years old because she said her boyfriend was only 18. But she's like, I cannot believe that our society does not tell their men that they are worthy of love and of being loved. And she went and told him that, and he broke down into tears. And it's like, I almost broke down in tears just watching it because it's very true. We are not supported in the ways we should be as men. So it's time for us as a community, ladies, support your men, men support other men. We need to come together because when men are not supported, when they're not healthy, when they don't feel love, then you get the mass shooters, you get the isolationists, the addicts, and the guys who cause all these problems because they don't feel love, they don't feel like they have an outlet, and they don't feel like they're worth anything. So why not go blow up something? Why not go running, through the crowd with my car? Why not do these things? Because nobody cares. I'm not worth anything. Little things go a long way for guys, especially a little bit of respect, a little bit of attention, just a little bit of, hey, I see you, you're worth it.
What if you have, whether you're a man or a woman, male or female, however you identify, whatever. What if your father is still alive? What if you just reached out, texted him, and say, thank you for doing the best you could do? I mean, we all might have disappointments in our parents. We all might have disappointments and sad stories with our father stories. Most men have a father wound one way or another, but looking back, man, I wish I could just text my father right now and just like, hey, man, I forgive you. Thank you for doing the best you can do. I mean, this guy, I could list out all the scars that I have as a result of me being his son. But at the same time, when I look back at his story, man, I don't know if I would have come out much better given his story. So how about supporting another guy, and maybe that other guy is somebody close to you, a relative, a brother, like you said, a husband, or maybe even a dad, and just say, hey, thank you for doing the best you can do. Because most of us out here, we just trying to play the best hand we can with the cards we were dealt.
Yeah, and if your dad's still here, definitely find some way to reach out because, like in our cases, our fathers are gone, mm-hmm. So we can send them a message in spirit, but that's we don't get a whole lot of response that way. But one of the things that kind of brought to the surface when you're talking about that is, as we're looking in the mirror as men or as women or as people, and we look back on our parents and we realize they did the best they could, but there are still traumas and scars. Well, maybe at some level of spirit, of infinite intelligence, whatever, we chose to have those experiences because of what we experienced from that, and then the strengths that it gave us, so that we could take those and share it with the world. And that's why we say you definitely want to get a group of guys around you doing the same work or who have similar experiences and share that, because so many men are isolated and feel like islands, that they're the only ones suffering with these things, when every one of us is suffering with the same things at some level. At some aspect of our life, we're suffering with isolation, loneliness, addiction, not feeling worthy enough, not feeling like we've ever, are worthy of love, those different things. And so giving somebody the opportunity by sharing your story. I mean, Kirk's story was hitting rock bottom and realizing and coming back out and getting out of addiction. I've had very similar stories of dealing with my, isolationist and neglectful parents because they didn't know any better. That's what they got. And so I get to share that story with those around me so that others can go, oh, well, my parents did the best they could, even though it wasn't what I needed or what I wanted. And so as we look in the mirror and we dig into those past things, those past traumas, those past hurts, and share them forward, pay it forward, show somebody else that they're not alone, that they can hurt as well as you are, and you guys can hurt together and move forward and heal that maybe in the future.
There's all kinds of ways that we say we want to do better this year, have something better, or whatever you want to call it, change or any of those kinds of things. And in our country, in our culture, in this Western culture, most of the time that comes down to something on the surface. Most of the time that comes down to a better looking body, or maybe it comes down to making more money or something like that. All the surface kind of things that, really that society tells us gives us value. What if we had a focus on more of the internal stuff, more of the stuff that means things in the long run, more of the stuff that means things on a deathbed? A six-pack abs ain't gonna do nothing if you're not gonna make it till 8 o'clock tonight. having all the money in the world means nothing if you're lonely and you're miserable and, more money, more problems. I mean, and so what if we focused on the stuff that means something at the end of the day and at the end of the life, as opposed to just all the surface stuff? And I feel like that's kind of where we're going in this conversation. Didn't plan on it. We never do. But I feel like that's where this is kind of going on. It's like, what if the new you
We're told that we're not good enough in every advertisement. We're told that we need to have this shiny new thing to be a better version of ourselves. And then we get those things and it just creates a bigger hole that we can't fill. It never works. And so looking internally, like I was just watching a Diary CEO podcast with Sadhguru on there. And he's like, everything I have everything I need right now. Mm-hmm. And we could stop here in the West and actually just go, all the stuff I'm chasing, all these things I think I need, all the stuff outside of myself that I think is going to make me feel better. What if I just stopped and took a breath and realized I'm good right now? I don't need anything. I've got food in the fridge. I got money in the bank. I got my car. I got my family. I got my kids, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe I'm okay right now because we spent so much of our lives being told we're not okay just as we are. And then that leads us to this rat race of chasing the next thing, which leads to addiction, which leads to self-cancellation and all these other issues that we see in the world, especially around guys. Maybe it's time for us to slow down and go, hey, maybe I'm okay just right now.
I know when I was sleeping in the back of my car and planning on how to end it all, I was very externally focused on all the stuff that I didn't have that society said I should have had, which is happy wife, happy family, great body, just, all this other kind of stuff. And obviously, addiction kind of had me in that dark pit as well. But in any case, the focus was very external in terms of I wish I had, and I'm never going to get. And so if I'm never going to get all the stuff that I wish I had that society tells me I need, then, life ain't worth living. And nothing could be further from the truth. And I mean, had it ended that night, there's so many beautiful things that I would not have had the opportunity to experience. But a lot of that came from just focusing on the outside. I know a focus that we can focus on.
We need to focus on this break.
Yeah, let's focus on this quick break, man.
All right, let's take a break. Mad Men of Masculinity, KLDC. We'll be right back.
We literally made up time about that. Bomb diggity.
It's nice when you got the clock man working on the clock.
Show enough.
All right.
Enough. And when you got comments like Mike chiming in there,
thank you.
So now it's good to know that is easier, looks better on
YouTube
than Facebook.
We'll just send everybody
to YouTube. Either way,
everybody go to YouTube.
Sure. Watch us there.
All right, last quarter.
All right. We got Barry coming in. Not now. He sent us some dates.
Oh, okay. Yes, we are back.
Yeah.
This is the Mad Men Show.
Mad Men
in the new year.
Right.
With the new you.
Denver, Colorado. Hopefully we get, we got the current NBA champs. Maybe we can get a back-to-back.
Yeah.
And then we got the current NBA or MLB chumps. Maybe we can get that back-to-back.
Well, I mean, NFL.
Yeah. That's.
Whew.
Yeah, that is what
that's a whole nother thing. We just spent all this money on this quarterback and now just kick him out the door. Just done.
Dirty.
Like,
we're gonna need you to give us back $30 million.
We need you to go over there, sit down somewhere.
Don't work that way.
Just look at you like.
Speaking of New Year, New You, man. Speaking of New Year, New You. Now we got a New Year. You gonna be on the bench.
Yeah.
But man, so we're talking about coming into a new year.
How do you make a new you?
What kind of things what kind of things maybe should we focus on this year to take us to help us be somebody better or to have a better life than we had last year? And I think a lot of that maybe comes down to some of the things that aren't commercial, some of the things that aren't external, that's not on a list of somebody telling us we need to be or we need to do. Maybe it's not a needle in your face. Maybe
I don't think that's a guy problem.
No, probably not so much a guy problem, but it better not become one.
Well, yeah, I've seen some of y'all been. Yeah,
I ain't going down that route, man.
They start with the peels, make sure you get the eyebrows plucked, and I mean, it's okay to go to the barbershop and get yourself lined up and make yourself look pretty, but Don't go too far.
We got Mike watching this comment. Maybe he'll go get some Botox. Let us know how it is.
Don't mess up those nice wrinkles, man.
Yeah, don't do
gives
that.
you character.
Yeah, gives you character.
Character that shows you've been through it.
But you don't need all that kind of stuff,
No.
man. You don't need all that nonsense, man. You know, I would say healthy, yes. I mean, health for the sake of vanity, you know, just because I want to be prettier, just because I want more people to like me or find me attractive, that's not healthy. I mean, that's not, that might be physically healthy, but it's definitely not emotionally, spiritually, mentally more healthy.
Yeah, when you don't want to be too pretty anyway, because then you never know if they like you just for you. It's like when you got too much money. Do they like me for me, or do they like me for my face or my wallet?
They say beauty is skin deep, but ugly goes all the way to the bone.
Oh, and I've seen some of the prettiest ugly people in the world.
Lord have mercy. It's like a cake with all frosting and no cake.
It's like cardboard underneath the frosting.
It is. It's like one decoration. It's in the display. Speaking of which, I went to Village Inn the other day. Them cakes that they have in the display are the pies. Are those real pies? Or those like cardboard or plastic?
I think the ones in the window.
Because they got them in a display right there when you walk in, but it's not. I don't think that thing is refrigerated, and they never look melted, or there's never any steam on the inside of that case. Anyhow, these are
You're gonna have to go talk to Village Inn.
These are the kind of things I think about.
I don't know about
when I wake up in the middle of the night. I think about Village Inn pies. But I'm saying so. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's a whole lot of lives that are built, a whole lot of people that are built that it is all frosting and no cake.
Yeah.
It's all external. It's all fluff, but there's absolutely nothing on the inside. You live in a great house, but it's empty and there's no furniture on the inside of it. There's no life.
Yeah, and I think it's one of the things we keep bringing it up because it's just coming to the forefront. This year is going to be very much about minimizing, building community. Putting the phone down, getting off the computer, turning off the TV, getting rid of like as much electronics as you can, and getting out into nature as more as you can. I remember spending 48 hours on a solo out just by myself out in nature, and how refreshed and grounded, and how like all of these things that I was worried about, all these things I was stressed over, even the goals I had at the time, because these goals were external goals that I had created because I thought I needed X, Y, and Z to make me feel better, make me a man, et cetera, et cetera. Then I spent 48 hours by myself out in nature and came out going, why did I even want to do those things? Why did I think I needed those things? If we can't get away from all the electronics and can't get away from all the influence, we can't hear our internal voice. We can't hear the voice for God. We can't hear our intuitions or inspirations coming up to tell us who we are and what we want. And I know for myself, a lot of us, and I've talked to a lot of guys the same way, even ladies nowadays, don't know what their purpose is or what they should be doing or what they really want, because there's so much influence and so much noise coming in. So it's time to minimize as much as we can, get back to basics, go internal and find, maybe get back to the inner child and go, I used to like doing this when I was a kid. Maybe start doing that again and getting out and playing in the leaves and getting out and playing out in nature and climbing trees and doing those things. Because just sitting there on the computer all day at work and then sitting in front of the TV all day, all night and eating all the processed food is not helping us out at all.
My favorite way of getting out in nature is
playing golf.
Golf.
Yes.
I mean, 4-letter word, but it's beautiful.
Man, did you see that thing I sent you?
Come on, play with us.
Yeah, come out and play with us, Mike.
Which one?
Just watch out for the marshmallows when we throw it out.
Oh yeah, marshmallows throwing them out on the golf course. That's cold blooded. See, but that wouldn't affect people like me because I got orange golf balls.
That's true.
So that wouldn't affect people like me. But then you get, Charlie Woods just hitting the ball and waving by. And you get the guy out of the bunker that hits it off the wall and hits it a foot from the cup. I mean, man, I'm telling you, but man, I love getting out into nature. Guys, if you don't play golf, men, if you do not play golf, you need to play golf.
Or find something outside to play.
I recommend golf.
I like golf too.
It's frustrating. Don't worry about being good. Just get out there, play golf, be around other people, be around other guys, get out in nature. It's beautiful out there. It's frustrating. It's humbling. The best golfer I know talks about being humbled every round of golf.
Yeah, if you need an ego check, get out there and play some golf because good Lord.
That's a good. If you want a resolution, that's a good goal for 2024, the year of golf.
Yeah. And we're not talking about Tiger Woods golf on PlayStation. Yeah. We're not talking about Top Golf, although Top Golf can be helpful for your swing.
Speaking of which, I got a gift card for Top Golf.
What are you gonna do with that? Who are you gonna take?
I'm gonna take Mike.
Man.
Mike says no cold golf.
Come on, man.
25 more degrees. See, they got the heater up in Top Golf. So,
don't be weak like this.
Nah, man, I don't do cold golf, man. I don't do chilly golf, man. I'm sorry, I can't do it, man. I just no.
It's good time. Good time. See, that's what I'm talking about. Determination. If you can get out and play a cold game of golf, get your jacket on, with the gloves on, and play.
Hey man,
I'm telling you what. Sometimes with that thinner atmosphere, when it's cold like that,
we boys are boundaries. My boundary is about, I'm gonna say about 60, 65 degrees.
See, he said he won't play cold golf, but now he wants to hit a 14er in the summer.
He'll climb a 14er.
Okay.
Mike is part Sherpa. He don't look like it, but he's part Sherpa.
Well, he can carry me up the mountain.
Yeah, but I'll play golf before I climb a 14er. I'm telling you, if I'm climbing a 14er, it's up to 14th fairway. That's about it. That's because I'm playing 18 and I got 4 more to go.
I used to live in Breckenridge for about 10 years. I never actually climbed a 14er. I think it was because I was always hungover in the morning. But
but getting out into nature, man, is huge. I mean, that's a thing that from a male point of view, man, these are the kind of things that we need to do. Yeah. These are the kind of things that if we focused on that, if we focused on getting around other guys, if we focused on just the basics, encouraging other guys, supporting other guys, those are the things that will make us better this year than we were last year.
Yeah, something I want everybody to think about, especially it's a new year, just have some scenarios in your mind, just what ifs. Like, what if an EMF went off and all the electronics went down? Would you be able to survive? What if we had no electricity? Are you able to fend for yourself and your family? Just have these conversations in your head and just start thinking, well, what if that happened? Because we never know. I mean, some craziness could go on this year where the power grids go down. And if we are all living in apartments, just, living off electricity, and then, there's going to be riots, there's going to be food riots, there's going to be all kinds of craziness going on. So what if? Like, I bought a truck just so I could kit it out so that if, Mad Max showed up and I needed to go, I can at least jump in, I can sleep in my truck, but you never know. Yeah. So just one of those things, like if you're worried about so much external stuff, you're worried about all the new iPhone and the new whatever, PlayStation 5 or the new game or the new this, what if you didn't have those things? I mean, I remember, Kirk and I both remember being kicked out of the house at 8 a.m. and told not to come back till the street lights come on, which was usually about 8 p.m. Nobody checked on us, running around the streets, drinking from garden hoses, just doing crazy stuff, just being outdoors. And we've lost that. So many kids nowadays never make it outdoors and have no idea the grounding effects, the healing effects, the health effects of being outside.
Yeah, and when you're a man in your masculine, right, and even to get in your masculine, I've said this before, nature is feminine, right? And so when you're a man out in nature, you're penetrating the feminine. You can connect whatever dots you want on that one. But the whole point is, you get out and you get out into space, you get out into the world, you get some free vitamin D from the sun, you get, you get some fresh air, you get all those kinds of things. And then especially if you can do those kinds of things with other guys, if you can have healthy shoulder to shoulder time with other guys, I mean, you can't lose. I mean, it's a win-win, and that would absolutely make this year better than last.
Yeah, I mean, we always bond as men shoulder to shoulder. We can bond face to face, but we usually bond much better shoulder to shoulder doing something. Shoulder to shoulder chopping firewood, shoulder to shoulder digging a ditch, shoulder to shoulder farming, something like that. We bond shoulder to shoulder doing something. A lot of what we've been taught is, let me hear about your feelings face to face in a therapy session. Let me, be soft and gentle and feminine like we want you to be. Well, that's taken away a lot of our masculinity, and that has affected us and our families in so many different ways. So getting a group of guys, just doing, maybe not even a group of guys, start off with one guy you can stand and hang out with, that you can go play golf with, you go for hikes with. Mike will take you out up to a 14er. Kirk will take you to Top Golf when it's cold outside. Mm-hmm. But just finding somebody you can hang out with and do something side by side with, and realize you're not alone. Just because you're isolated, you're not alone. All other guys are going through the same thing you're going through at some level. And if they're not, either have already or going to. It's just time and opportunity. It's the only difference between you and any other guy.
And when you do hang around with other guys, you end up being better for yourself and for the people around you. I mean, when you get around other guys, you almost re-energize the masculine that you are, and you're better off. You're a sharper saw to hack down the forest and the trees of this world, this thing called life, and to deal with the challenges and to deal with the ups and downs and all those kinds of things. I mean, I've had many days where it absolutely sucked during the week, but I knew I had a round of golf, or I knew I had some kind of outing coming up this weekend or whatever, or just refreshed and all those kinds of things. And so as we go into this, this new year, which every day is the beginning of a new year, if we focus on some of the basic foundational things of who we are as people, and especially who we are as men, coming together, supporting one another, encouraging one another. I mean, just, focusing on all the important things in life, man. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that will make all of us better and better prepared and better equipped for this next. Yeah, it's already 2024, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as we record this thing in 2025, so anyhow, we got to do these kind of things as men, and that'll make us better.
Yeah, it's just all about time to get back to basics. What you need to do as a man, so get support doing it. Realize you need help, you need support. You can't do it all on your own. As much as you think you're an island and an iceberg out there that nobody's there to help you, you need help. We're here to help you. Reach out to your boys, madmenradio.com. Get on YouTube. Be like Mike, because Mike wants to go backpacking and 14ers, and he won't play golf in the snow, but he'll come hang out with us. But just having a community and reaching out to other guys so that you can be a better you in the new year. You want to be a new you, new friends, new community, new outlook. And until next time, we here at the Mad Men Show love you, and we'll say Happy New Year. Peace out.
Mad Men out.